Hey everybody, welcome back again to Summit. My name is Mark. We're taking a look at the third Sunday of Easter season. We're not even halfway through it yet. This is awesome. You know, part of living the best life you can live and being the most joyful you can be is by allowing the Holy Spirit to unleash the hidden greatness of your soul. That when God forms you, He makes you to be great. But there are a lot of people who walk around and they've never really given the Holy Spirit permission to really unlock and unleash all the gifts and all the talents and all the graces and all the blessings that God has bestowed upon you and put within you. And when you really start to walk with the Holy Spirit and you ask the Holy Spirit every day, guide me, teach me, show me, unleash in me, empower me, unleash the greatness of my soul, everything I'm designed to be. The Holy Spirit is going to lead you some places you don't want to go. But ultimately, the Holy Spirit is going to achieve things that you can never achieve just on your own power. And we see this at work in this first reading. I love the Acts of the Apostles. It's one of the greatest books in all the Bible, but we never really read it outside of Easter season. So I get a little excited geeky when we actually start unpacking the Acts of the Apostles. Right here, we have Peter, and he's going to stand up with the 11, with the other apostles, but he's going to start preaching. He's going to preach with boldness, y'all. He's going to unleash the fire of the Spirit on people. Now, this is the same Peter in the Gospels who was constantly opening his mouth and inserting sandal. And here he is now, he's this great orator, just dropping truth bombs, converting people, changing their hearts, lighting their hearts on fire. And as he goes on to talk about it, it says that Peter's speaking with confidence, okay? He confidently is saying these things. And what he's doing is he's trying to help the people understand who this Jesus guy was by connecting the dots for him. Remember, he did this, Jesus the Nazarene, remember he did this, and he did these great works, and he was in your midst, and then he was delivered up, okay, and he was crucified. But remember then, before that even, when David was saying that this was going to happen? So Peter's actually walking people back. This is a fisherman, by the way, who's now this first pope, the great shepherd, walking people back in time a little bit, not only to what Jesus himself had done, but what the prophecies preceding Jesus had said. It's almost as if they're looking up and he's connecting all these dots for them. They're going, oh, and light bulbs are going on. They're going, no, I get it now. This is why the Psalm says, you will show us the path of life. The Psalm is showing how when you start moving down the path over time, things unfold. That you're moving ahead in time, but things are becoming more clear. That's why in the second reading, we hear about how God is revealing to us things over time, right? So God didn't just come right in the Garden of Eden after they mess up and say, I'm going to send you my son and he's going to redeem you. No, he says, I'm going to send you a redeemer born of a woman, and I'm not really explaining to you how it's going to happen yet. And then over the series of the entire Old Testament, tons of covenants and thousands of years, all of a sudden it kind of starts to come into focus as we go down this path towards life. And the dots start to connect. And that's why this week in this famous reading, one of my absolute favorite readings in all the Bible, the Road to Emmaus story from Luke chapter 24, what happens? Jesus draws near to these two travelers who are really down and forlorn because of the suffering, because of the death, the passion, and they're taken off out of Jerusalem. And Jesus draws near to them, they don't even recognize him. And instead of just connecting dots right away, Jesus asks them questions. He asks them questions, he lets them talk, then he starts to connect the dots. Well, don't you remember? I mean, it was said that this was going to happen. He starts to connect the dots, and all of a sudden their eyes are open, their minds open, and their hearts start burning. We haven't figured it out yet. Where's he walking, though? Where's the path of life lead to? The path of life leads to the altar of life. It's in the breaking of the bread. It's in the Eucharist that they actually recognize Jesus. It's in the Eucharist that they actually look and see and understand this was Jesus. As he vanishes, all the dots have now connected. But you see how God was leading them the entire way. Jesus was leading the entire way to where? To the Eucharistic table where all the dots finally connect between suffering and life. This is so important for all of us Christians to understand, especially this one lesson that's sort of lost sometimes in the Emmaus story. They were really downtrodden, and God came in and asked them questions first, but he entered into their suffering. He walked with them side by side. And Jesus is still walking with us side by side, saying you might not understand your sufferings now, you might not understand the scene now and how all this stuff goes together now, but eventually you will. So even if you're at a hard part of your life, a hard week, maybe you're struggling to see God's plan right now, you're struggling to hear God's voice, you don't understand how it all goes together and works out, you keep walking that path of life and you keep believing that in time, because of God's perfect plan, in time, God's going to reveal to you why he allowed certain things and why certain things came to be. And eventually, the more and more you and I head down that path of life to the altar table, the dots are going to connect and things are going to make sense. The point is, you trust him and you just keep walking.